They laughed when she walked into the steel hangar carrying something wrapped in an old thermal blanket that barely moved. The military base was carved into the frozen cliffs of the northern wasteland where storms screamed like dying gods and even armored transports froze solid if left idle for too long. Every soldier inside the hangar had seen monsters before. They had fought biomechanical raiders from the outer colonies. They had burned hive creatures that bled acid through reinforced plating. They had survived orbital bombardments that turned cities into glass. And now this small young woman with frostbitten gloves and determined eyes was standing in front of the command table holding what looked like a shivering bundle of laundry. Someone snorted. Someone else muttered that the refugee intake was getting worse every cycle. The commander did not even look up at first. "State your business," he said flatly. She stepped forward and gently pulled back the blanket. Inside was the smallest dragon anyone had ever seen. It was barely the size of a house cat. Its scales were pale blue and almost translucent like thin ice catching early morning light. Its wings were too small for its body. Its horns were barely curved. Its breathing sounded weak. For a moment there was silence. Then the laughter started. "You brought a pet. Is this some kind of joke? That thing would not survive one night outside these walls." The girl did not flinch. "This is not a pet," she said quietly. "This is the last frost wormling of the Northern Line." The commander finally looked up. His eyes were tired. He had seen too much war to entertain fairy tales. "Dragons are extinct," he replied. "Not this one," she said. The tiny dragon opened one eye. It was not the soft blue of its scales. It was a deep piercing white, like frozen lightning. The air shifted, just slightly. A nearby metal crate developed a thin layer of frost along its edges. Most of the soldiers did not notice. One technician did. He stared at the temperature gauge mounted near the ceiling. It had dropped by 3 degrees in less than 10 seconds. The commander stood slowly. "Explain." The girl swallowed. "Your base sits above a geothermal fault line. You rely on heat circulation from below to survive these winters." The commander narrowed his eyes. Everyone knew that. 3 days ago, she continued, something began draining the heat. "Your outer towers are freezing from the inside. Your fuel reserves will solidify within 48 hours. You will not survive the next storm." Murmurs rippled through the hangar. The commander said nothing, because she was right. Their internal diagnostics had detected an unknown thermal loss. They had blamed faulty insulation. They were wrong. "What does that have to do with your lizard?" he asked. She looked down at the tiny dragon. It shifted weakly. "Something ancient is under your base," she said. "Something that feeds on heat. This dragon is the only creature left that can counter it." The laughter returned, louder this time. "That thing can barely keep itself warm. It will freeze before it even leaves this hangar." The girl's voice did not rise. "He is not trying to stay warm. He is trying to stay asleep." Silence. A cracking sound echoed faintly through the ceiling beams. Tiny flakes of frost drifted down like ash. The technician whispered. Temperature just dropped another 5 degrees. The commander felt it now. A creeping chill crawling up through the floor. "You have one chance," he said. "If this is a trick, I will have you both escorted beyond the outer gate." She nodded. "That is fair." They moved to the lower reactor chamber, the deepest level of the base, where the metal walls were warm to the touch and steam vents hissed constantly. Or at least they used to. Now the vents sputtered weakly. Ice crept along the pipes. The dragon stirred as they descended. Its breathing changed. Not weaker, but heavier, like something awakening. At the center of the chamber, a circular grate covered a vertical shaft that disappeared into darkness. Cold air poured from it. Not natural cold. Hungry cold. The girl knelt and unwrapped the blanket completely. The tiny dragon stood on unsteady legs. The soldiers watched with poorly hidden amusement. "This is your savior," someone whispered. The dragon looked down into the shaft, and for the first time, it growled. It was not loud. It was not impressive, but it was ancient. The lights flickered. The temperature plummeted. Frost raced across the chamber walls in jagged veins. Something roared from below, a sound like glacier grinding together. The soldiers stumbled back, weapons raised. The commander shouted for thermal cannons. The girl did not move. She placed her hand gently on the dragon's head. "You do not have to hide anymore," she whispered. The dragon stepped onto the metal grate, its small body trembling. The grate froze solid beneath its claws. The roar from below grew louder. A massive shape shifted in the darkness. Eyes opened. Far beneath, burning red, the thing under the base had been feeding quietly for years, drawing warmth, growing stronger, waiting. The dragon inhaled. Its chest expanded beyond what its tiny form should allow. The air crystallized. Every surface sparkled. The soldiers could not breathe. Their exhalations turned to snow midday. And then, the dragon released its breath. Not fire, not smoke, but pure white frost. It poured into the shaft like a waterfall of winter. The roar below turned into a scream. The entire base shook. Ice erupted upward, spiraling, clashing against something massive trying to climb. The commander stared in disbelief. The small creature was glowing now. Its wings no longer looked fragile. They stretched wide, translucent and vast, filling the chamber with refracted light. The ancient thing below surged upward, a colossal serpentine body of molten shadow and burning core. It slammed against the grate, cracking metal. The dragon shrieked. This time the sound was thunder. The frost intensified, encasing the shadow creature inch by inch. Freezing flame, freezing motion, freezing time. With one final blast of white light, the shaft exploded in a pillar of ice that shot through every level of the base. Silence followed. Slowly, the cold receded. Not the deadly cold, but the clean, sharp cold of stable winter. The frost on the walls shimmered, then melted. The temperature gauges climbed. The geothermal systems roared back to life. Steam filled the chamber once more. The dragon collapsed. Small again, fragile again. The girl caught him before he hit the floor. The soldiers stared at the frozen column sealing the shaft. Deep inside it, the shadow creature was trapped forever. The commander removed his gloves slowly. He stepped toward the girl. "What is his name?" he asked quietly. She smiled through exhausted tears. "Octhelion, the last frost wormling." The base had laughed. Now no one made a sound.